Okay, so welcome to the Find a Way Movement podcast, I guess is what we'll call it. So today I have Cinnamon Wilson, and she is with me today to share her story. So Cinnamon, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So can we just start the conversation by you just sharing a little bit about what you do now, professionally, and kind of let people know who you are?
Well, first and foremost, I guess professionally, my title would be a full-time stay-at-home mom because that's literally what I do. But in doing that, I have a 6-year-old son named Portland who was diagnosed with Autism Spectrum disorder at the age of 3. So at that point, I left the job with Blue Cross and Blue Shield here in Columbia, working on the ACA, Affordable Care Act, and just kind of devoted life to him. And from there, just trying to figure out and navigate things, I decided that I wanted to start a nonprofit organization. So in February of 2020, that's what I did, and it's currently under construction. I did a soft launch, and it's called MAD, Moms Advocating Daily for Autism. I launched it with a partner, but unfortunately, we have gone our separate ways, and she does something else now. So just trying to get back, to where we can get that back up and running, and so that we can provide resources for families that, are living with autism. And I also run an online boutique, children's boutique, called Cortland's Corner. And it's inspired by my little boy, Cortland. And I sell children's clothes online. And just recently got tapped to the Volunteer Advocacy Ambassador with Autism Speaks. Not sure if you've ever heard of the organization, but we just started up, and what we do is basically work closely with, members of Congress, at the federal level. We're assigned a member of Congress, and we are the main point of contact for Autism Speaks. So we're just getting that started, and I'm really excited about it. So 2021 had started off great. And so basically that's what I do in a nutshell. And I mean, I'm a teacher because I homeschool my kid. He's homeschooled, regularly, not just because we're in, virtual school because of COVID. I homeschool him. So I'm a mom, a teacher, business owner, an advocate. I wear a lot of hats. So.
Well, that's awesome. And that's why I'm glad that, I got a chance to talk with you because, you are wearing a bunch of hats, and, you have done some things that a lot of people may not have been able to do, given the fact that, like you said, your son got diagnosed to be on the autism spectrum. So that's going to kind of lead me to the rest of our conversation where, I want you to kind of share a little bit about, like, how have you been able to find a way to overcome just that diagnosis and being able to still do some of the things you're doing now, given the fact that for some people, when they hear that, oh, my child may be diagnosed with autism, they don't know where to start or how to even pick up the pieces to move forward. So can you share your story?
Yeah, sure, I'll be happy to. So basically, everything that you said was me. When you get that initial diagnosis, when you have the preconceived notions that maybe something is wrong with your child, where to look, where to get the answers. When you talk to people that are a part of your family and they, cast doubt on what you're thinking, it becomes hard. And, it's just a level of adversity that, I wouldn't wish upon anyone. And I'm a single parent. Like, I raised Cortland alone. And so that's a double whammy. So to be a single parent alone is hard in and of itself, but to be a single parent of a child with a special need is just like unimaginable, unexplainable. Many nights I cried myself to sleep because I just didn't know where to go, where to turn. But I ultimately put my faith in God and just allowed Him to guide me, because I knew, always been a strong believer, and my grandmother always taught us, God is not going to put more on your shoulders than you can bear. And in the beginning, when when I separated from his dad, I was just like, this, am I being punished? I would question God all the time. Am I being punished? And then I just had to remember to walk in faith and know that God he didn't put this on me as a burden. He gave it to me as a purpose. This is my assignment in life. And, it's challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to, just talk about the good days. We have horrible days. We have days to where I just don't know if I'm coming or going. But I always go back to Jeremiah 29:11, where it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you, hope in a future." And like, this is my future. Like, I went to school. I graduated from the University of Tennessee with your wife. We went to school together. I got a degree in political science. So when I look back on where I am now with Cortland and dealing with the autism and being on the, the ambassador, being a part of the ambassador program for Autism Speaks, that was the start. That was my blueprint. Everything I did at the University of Tennessee, as far as majoring in political science, getting that degree, getting the background, working in healthcare, God placed me there so that I would be able to do what I'm doing now, so that I would be able to handle what I'm handling now. We go through many days where there's lots of therapies. We have sleepless nights. Right now, I'm even amazed that I'm able to sit here and give this interview with you, because we have not been to sleep in almost a week. Wow. It's hit or miss with sleep with him, and it's hard. It's really hard. And so, but, just standing true in my faith, knowing that God will not put more on me than I can bear, knowing that my child is my blessing, knowing that this is my purpose, is what has helped me overcome all the obstacles, the challenges, all the adversities that we have faced. The depression, the anxiety. I've been there. I cry myself to sleep at night. I cry throughout the day, just when I don't know how to grasp or how to hold on. Because when you get a diagnosis for your child, and you're talking to friends and you're talking to family members, doors close, and you have to be okay with those doors closing. You have to be okay with people leaving. You have to know that they have served their purpose in your life and they're not meant to be on this journey with you. And that's a lot of what gets me through too. Just in understanding that textbook answers when it comes to a clinical diagnosis does not always pertain to that child, because every child that is diagnosed with autism or any other special healthcare need, it's just their own individual selves. And I think society tries to lump them in a lot, and it makes it difficult for families. And that's why I think a lot of families don't talk about their journey, don't talk about their stories for fear of being judged. And I can't wear that hat, because I simply feel like me sharing my story will help someone else. If I touch one person, then I've done my job. And that's my goal. That's what I get up with in the morning, to be a great mom for Cortland, to be a great individual, to remain faithful to God, and to try to at least touch one person. That's my goal every day. And if I touch that one person, then I succeed it.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and you kind of answered this a little bit in just your last response, but so I'm thinking about, the Find a Way movement, and how, one of the goals is to really provide that hope and that inspiration and encouragement to people who may be somewhere along the path where we have been. And, when I hear your story and I hear about some of the things you've gone through, some of the adversity you faced, I'm wondering what advice you would give to someone who may just be getting started. They may have just gotten that diagnosis, or maybe they're in year one and they're trying to figure out how to, if they're going to make it, and then how to make it. So what have you learned that you could share with that person who may be a little further behind than where you are in your journey?
just to have faith, first and foremost, just to have faith. And, you have to build and maintain a strong support system. And like I said, be okay with those doors closing, because doors are going to close. There are going to be disappointments. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to talk about. Don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Let people know, like, this is what I'm going, and don't, first and foremost, don't be afraid to ask for help. That's where I should have started, because that was my thing. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because like I said, doors are going to close, doors are going to open. You're going to get some yeses and you're going to get some no's. But if you don't have a strong support system, then you can't do it. And I'm extremely blessed to have an amazing support system. I have my mom, I have my friends, my girls from college, I have other people that I've built relationships with through, some of the organizations that we're a part of, and, his therapists, his doctors. You have to lean on the people that you have to figure out who's there for you, and you have to lean on them. And just don't be afraid to ask for help. And most importantly as well, don't be afraid to say no. Like, you are already running ragged, and you're run thin. So when someone places an expectation on you that's outside of the scope of what is the need for your child, it's okay to say no, and you have to be comfortable with that, because if you don't find that level of comfort, then this will eat you alive, and it will literally eat you alive. Like the level of stress, and like you have to just have that faith and build a strong support system. And research. Don't always take what the doctors say. Like I was told Courtland would never talk. He may never talk. He started out talking and he lost his voice. And I was told he may never get it back. Now I can't get him to shut up. But, that's a positive. He's a brilliant kid. Like, he is crazy intelligent. And so don't always think that textbook answers apply to you. You have to figure it out. You have to do your research, and you have to be willing to go out there. Don't be embarrassed by your child's diagnosis. That's what we find in a lot of parents, that there's a level of embarrassment. Wear it like a badge of honor, because that's what I do. Because as I stated earlier, this is my purpose. This is where God has placed me. This is my assignment, and I shall do it faithfully and, tired most of the time, but, I'm gonna do what God has placed upon me to do, has called me to do. And I feel like this is what I've been called to do. So.
Awesome. Well, Cinnamon, thank you so much, for being vulnerable and open with us, and, sharing your story, because I do think that the people who hear it, they're gonna be encouraged and hopeful when they hear your story. And before you go, I always like to ask people to share a little bit about, how people can follow your journey. So I know you have a podcast where you talk about, just your journey and raising Courtland. And could you tell us the name of the podcast, and then even give us the website where they can go to your online boutique and stuff like that?
As far as, following our journey and keeping up with us, if you like, my podcast is called Sweet Tea, Southern Mama Doing Autism from A to Z, and that can be found on Anchor. And the link for it is just anchor.fm /Anja, ANJA -Wilson, WILSON. And then we have a website that they can follow. And a lot of the information that is on my podcast is on a website in a blog that's titled the same thing, Sweet Tea, Southern Mama Doing Autism from A to Z. And the website is unapologeticallymbracingautism.com. And our social media platforms can be found on Instagram.com /Courtland's World, CORTLANDSWORLD, and Facebook, Facebook.com /Southern Mama Doing Autism A to Z. And that's where you can find us. Oh, in
Awesome.
Cortland's Corner. I'm sorry. In Cortland's Corner is just cortlandscorner.com. That's the name of the boutique.
Thank you very much, Cinnamon. I appreciate you for being a part of the show.
Thank you for having me, Gabriel.